in Connecticut for tonight's game. Beth Mullins along with Sherry Levin. It's the champs of the Big East meeting the champs of the North Atlantic as they both set out on a quest to win 6 games in a row, and that would mean an NCAA title. And Sherry, you look at the Maine Black Bears, 24 wins on the year, and they've been doing it with youngsters leading the way.
They certainly have, Beth. This is their first appearance, and then Sydney Blodgett was the Rookie of the Year in the North Atlantic Conference, and Stacy Perino was a big player inside. For Blodgett, she's a prolific scorer, 20 points per game, loves to have the ball in her hands. Stacey Perini is the inside strength, the leading rebounder on the team, as well as the leading shot blocker, second in scoring. She's going to need to have a big game, Beth.
That's because, according to the Associated Press, UConn has 2 of the top 15 players in the nation patrolling the paint.
They certainly do, and that's Rebecca Lobo and Kara Walters. Rebecca Lobo, the Player of the Year in the Big East Conference, and Kara Walters, of course, inside intimidator. But Rebecca Lobo is a strong forward. She can play anywhere on the court. 6'7" Kara Walters, when she gets the ball on the block, you cannot stop her. And if she misses, she most likely she's in a great spot for the offensive rebound.
All right, and for some more insight on tonight's matchup, let's check in with our courtside reporter, Rod Mashad.
The question all week for Maine has been, can they handle this crowd? Over 8,000 plus is unbelievable. It is crazy here tonight. Maine is used to playing in front of 4,000, maybe 3,000 people. I think the real question should be, can Maine handle UConn's front line? Rebecca Lobo, 6'4", Kara Walters, 6'7". That's tough. That's the real question tonight, Beth.
Thank you, Rod. The Maine Black Bears, in their first NCAA appearance, will try and do what has not been done this year. Beat the UConn Huskies. We'll meet the starters for tonight's game when we return to Storrs. Gamble Pavilion in Storrs, Connecticut, the site of this first-round NCAA tournament matchup, Connecticut and Maine. And time now to meet the starting lineups for tonight's contest. Here is the PA announcer, Chris Monahan.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Harry A. Gamble Pavilion at the University of Connecticut for tonight's first-round game of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship between the number 16 seed University of Maine Black Bears and the number 1 seed University of Connecticut Huskies. And now let's meet the starting lineups. At forward for Maine, a 5'9" sophomore from Millinocket, Maine, number 34, Trisha Ripton. At forward for Connecticut, a 6-foot junior from Washington, D.C., number 33, Jamel Elliott. At forward for Maine, a 6-foot junior from Stormville, New York, number 55, Stephanie Guidi. At forward for Connecticut, a 6'4" senior from Southwick, Massachusetts, number 50, co-captain Rebecca Lobo. At center for Maine, a 6'4" sophomore from Bristol, Connecticut, number 32, Stacey Perini. At center for Connecticut, a 6'7" sophomore from Holliston, Massachusetts, number 52, Kara Walters. At guard for Maine, a 5'9" freshman from Clinton, Maine, number 14, Cindy Blodgett. At guard for Connecticut, a 5'5" junior from New Fairfield, Connecticut, number 21, Jennifer Rosati. At guard for Maine, a 5'7" senior from Millinocket, Maine, number 33, tri-captain Shauna Dione. And at guard for Connecticut, a 5'6" senior from Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, number 32, co-captain Pam Weber. And introducing the head coaches for the University of Maine, Joanne Palumbo McCallie, and for the University of Connecticut, Gino Oriema.
Connecticut, the number 1 seed in the East, meets the number 16 seed Maine for Sherry and a big rebounding advantage for Connecticut.
See that also field goal percentage. Connecticut 51%, number 1 in the nation. Good foul shooting teams, but that rebound margin, obviously, with Elliott, Walters, and Lobo, you have to box out. You have to move them out somehow.
And the other thing you saw, too, both these teams on a roll coming into the tournament. Maine for the first time into the NCAAs. Connecticut 7-6.
And last year, Connecticut got all the way to the final 8 before losing to eventual champion North Carolina.
And also a reminder, the last time that Connecticut lost here at Gamble was in the NCAA first round a couple years ago against Louisville. Huskies in white, Black Bears in blue.
Now, Beth, it will be interesting. Connecticut has not played since the Big East Championship, which was 10 days ago. We wonder if they're going to, well, we don't have to wonder anymore. They are out of the blocks. They are ready and raring to play.
Rebecca Lobo hits 1 out of 3 from behind the arc, and she starts out with a triple.
In the semifinal of the Big East tournament, she scored over a career 2,000th point.
This is Blodgett, and she cans a jumper. Any advantage either way, Sherry? You talked about Connecticut not having played in 10 days. Maine just won their tournament last weekend, so they're a bit fresher.
They are. They're also pretty enthusiastic about playing, and that's Rebecca Lobo, who steps up and takes 2 consecutive three-pointers. There is focus and there is determination. You could see it in the Connecticut players when they were warming up.
Maybe they watched the men earlier who got out of the gate to a quick start. Looking to make it 2 for 2 on the day.
I have a feeling practices are probably tougher than some of the games they've played this season with Coach Oriema challenging the players.
Knocked out of bounds by Connecticut. I would imagine as well a challenge for Jennifer Rosati and Pam Weber to kind of control Cindy Blodgett, who has been putting up some pretty obscene numbers in terms of points for a freshman this year. Rebound to Walters. Connecticut on the go.
And Connecticut loves to take advantage of the transition game.
Lobo back out behind the arc. They're working around inside. Elliott. Lobo fouled on the play and will go to the line. Credit the foul to Trisha Ripton. That will be her first.
Rebecca Lobo taking it inside this time from Elliott. Just a little shuffle pass. 3 players you see right around her, and there's the reach-in foul by Trisha Ripton, sophomore, 5'9" guard.
Lobo has all 6 Connecticut points and will try to make it 8 here at the line.
Rebecca Lobo, the Big East Conference Player of the Year, as well as the U.S. Basketball Writers Association First Team All-America, as well as the Player of the Year. And Coach Oriema in the same group was announced as the Coach of the Year. There's a look at Gino. The job he has done is just tremendous.
Lobo misses on both.
Cindy Blodgett, some of you might have read an article on her in Sports Illustrated in January, and she's a real kid with a heart and soul. And you see how that pumps up this crowd. Defense, steals, aggression.
A lot of emotion.
It's a block. Make it 101 for this season for Rebecca Lobo.
Kick out jumper from Dione, no good. Walters has the rebound.
Kara Walters controlling the defensive boards.
Lobo on the break, and that one just out of reach and out of bounds. 6-2 Connecticut. Lobo's 2 3-pointers, the scoring for Coach Oriema's Huskies. Substitution checking into the game for Maine, Aaron Greeley.
But generally, Beth, where the crowd is a factor, I think, is when you're trying, a coach is trying to tell their players certain plays. And that's where the communication lines break down, because you can't talk to a player. And our official outside, Sally Bell, calling Pam Weber with the block.
Blodgett showing some good ball handling skills.
Well, I was talking about that Sports Illustrated article. She said Larry Bird is her idol. and she likes to model her game after the type of things that Larry Bird did. Now, that's certainly a good idol to have, but Beth, I tell you, if you ask any of these young girls in the stadium tonight who their idols are, I bet you they're going to talk about Rebecca Lobo, Jen Rosati, Kara Walters.
Absolutely. Turnaround jumper does not go for Perini. Huskies will push it. Nikisha Sales has checked into the Connecticut lineup, replacing Pam Weber. Lobo misses on the three.
Maine likes to get out and score points from transition as well.
Connecticut on the go again after the miss. Maine's getting just one opportunity and out. And a blocking foul will be called on Cindy Blodgett.
Little leadership for Jen Rosati. And she takes it right to the middle. She sees a slight opening right when she gets to the line and decides to take it all the way. Now, Cindy Blodgett did not stop her movement. She kept her feet moving. Therefore, it was a defensive foul.
Second team foul on the Black Bears. Rosati will try for three. No good. Elliott, offensive rebound, and then taken away by Maine.
Maine's coming off a 13-game winning streak where they won their North Atlantic Conference Championship the other night.
Ripton with a nice kick-out shot, no good, but a pushing foul underneath on Jamel Elliott, and we'll have to keep an eye on the matchup between Elliott and Ripton because there's been some pushing and shoving going on since that block made by Rebecca Lobo. They got tangled up over on the sideline, and there has been animosity there. Hook shot, no good.
Great defense. Kara Walters just stood there, arms straight up and down.
They work it down low. Walters.
You cannot stop that. Kara Walters with a hook shot, Beth. A lot of men don't have a hook shot in their repertoire, but Kara Walters does.
Maine showing good patience. And a blocking foul called on Rosati. So Ripton has been able to draw a couple of fouls on the Huskies.
Well, the officials, Sally Bale, Mark Zentz, and Dennis Kelly, are going to call this game tight. Just a little bit of a bump. As a player now, you know, okay, these officials are going to call it tight. So therefore, I have to play defense with my feet, no hands, and no body checks.
Ripton. Long on the three, air ball, and Lobo has the rebound. Rosati feeds, Sales, misses on the layup, but UConn will keep it.
Beautiful pass. Jen Rosati with the bounce pass underneath. She leads the team in assists with 134 coming into this game.
In fact, sure, they've got three players with over 100 assists this year, Lobo and Weber being the other two.
And what a great thing when you think of Rebecca Lobo in the third leading on the team with assists.
Good box out by Maine as they get the rebound.
Maine 0 for 4 from behind the three-point arc.
Blodgett, no good. Putback doesn't go, but a foul called on Rebecca Lobo.
Going for another rejection. There's Blodgett with a pretty good opening there, doesn't fall for her. Good rebound for Stacy Carino, and it looks like Rebecca Lobo just got it with the body underneath.
4 team fouls already here in the early going against Connecticut. Perini, 69, up to 70% free throw shooter.
He was named to the second team North Atlantic Conference All-Stars, and there's Coach DeWanne Palumbo giving some advice. Young freshman is Cindy Blodgett, all-time leading scorer in the history of the state of Maine.
Perini connects on the second. Connecticut 8, Maine 3, 15:57 to go in the first half. NCAA basketball will continue its doors after this. 8-3 Huskies. Maine having some problems shooting, just 10% from the floor. Cindy Blodgett, though, hasn't had much trouble shooting this year.
Certainly hasn't. You see 592 points as a freshman. I mentioned coming out of high school, all-time leading scorer in the history of Maine, 2,596 points. So quite a find. Went local from Clinton, Maine.
And there are the numbers, just 1 for 10, and that includes 0 for their last 9.
Connecticut 3 for 7. Maine is lucky right now that it's only 8 to 3. Connecticut's had some opportunities.
No good on the shot from Rosati. And UConn will keep it. Sure, you're surprised by the number of outside shots the Huskies have taken to this point?
Well, not really. I think the fact that they haven't played a game in the last 10 days probably has something to do with the fact that they're just not quite in sync. And this, as the tournament progresses, they're going to start getting much more game tuned.
Carla Berube is now into the Connecticut lineup. Turnaround Lobo in and out. And that's tipped out by Maine, so Connecticut will keep it once again.
Becca Lobo, you see they were just kind of rubbing her side of her face. She's okay, though.
Elliott has the ball knocked away, and a foul called by the official way out on top. The ref down low didn't blow his whistle on that one.
Well, that's Sally Bell, the outside official. Mark Zentz is the official that's underneath. It seemed that he had a better look, but actually I think Sally Bell held the better call. Stephanie Guidi with the foul.
Jamel Elliott will go to the free throw line where she is hitting it just about 80%.
Jamel is really the unsung hero of the fabulous two, Walters and Lobo. She's the other forward, so to speak, but a real integral part of the team. She actually leads the second leader in rebounds, right behind Rebecca Lobo. Averages 8.1 per game. And for Connecticut, they have 5 players averaging double figures.
And after the make, full court pressure. Big test here for the Black Bears.
Stacey Perino just going up high and getting that ball away from Jen Rosati.
And they are able to clear it over half court with Blodgett running the show. Shot clock at 10. No good from Guidi. Put back off glass.
Stephanie Guidi averages 11.3 points per game and 29 starts, started in every game this year, along with Cindy Blodgett.
Lobo working inside. She uses glass effectively.
And there's real physical play underneath.
She's got 8 points. Takeaway by Sales, and she saves it to Rebecca Lobo.
Nikisha Sales had 5 steals in the Big East Tournament Championship game. She is an outstanding anticipator when it comes to that.
In fact, she set a new Big East Tournament record with her pilfery.
Had 15 in the tournament.
Held ball possession arrow will give it to Maine.
Good word, I like that.
Don't get to use that one very often.
That's for sure.
Elliott will head to the sideline. It's Walters, Rosati, Berube, Lobo, and Sales out there for Connecticut. Blodgett in the game with Perini, Dione, Guidi, and Ripton.
And they're most comfortable when the ball is in Blodgett's hands. He gets it inside.
Knocked out of bounds by Perini.
Joanne Palumbo, coach of Maine, was the NAC Coach of the Year. We have 2 coaches of the year going up against each other, and this is the first time in the school history that they're going to the big dance. And here they are, and who do they get? But they draw the #1 seed and the #1 team in the country.
Lobo. And before the travel, a push called on the Maine defense. Second on Stephanie Guidi. Talking to the SID for Maine before the game, Sherry, there was some surprise and almost shock as we see earlier tonight. Virginia Tech defeated St. Joe's by 10, so the winner of this game will face the Hokies. Men's action, UConn beat Tennessee Chattanooga this afternoon to advance into the second round.
Quite handily, and it's nice to get a game in the tournament under your belt. And that's like what I said in the open. Kara Walters may not make every shot, but when she misses, she's in a great position to come up with the rebound.
Press forces the turnover, and then UConn gives it back. What I was starting to say, Sherry, some surprise in Maine. They thought they would be much higher seeded than the 16 that they were given. And Maine will keep it.
Well, I think as anything, Beth, in life, you really have to prove yourself. And yes, they're 24-5, 14-2 in the conference, but this is the first time that they've been to the NCAA tournament. So I think perhaps that was the justification of giving them the 16th seed.
Jamel Elliott replacing Rebecca Lobo, who sits down with 8 points. Blodgett, nice feed. And the deuce for Catherine Gallant.
Blodgett not only leads in points, but also in assists with 3.8 per game. She sees the floor extremely well, a la Larry Bird-esque.
2-3 zone D from Maine, packing it back in on Walters. She'll try and hook.
Wow. The no-look hook as Connecticut extends their lead.
6 now for Walters. So the inside duo with 14 of the Huskies' 16 points.
And Connecticut settles into their 2-3 zone with Rebecca Lobo getting the rest. And now they break it out to a player-to-player.
Nice head fake. Shot no good from Gallant.
And that's the intimidation factor for Kara Walters, who was behind Gallant, but made her change her shot. Instead of focusing just on the board and the rim, she's thinking to herself, all right, I got to protect it from Walters.
Walters fouled on the shot. So Kara Walters will head to the free throw line. Foul goes on Stacy Perini.
And now you sense that Connecticut is going to their strength. They're starting to look inside to Walters. Perini with 1 personal foul. What a story Kara Walters is. Was the Big East MVP in the tournament. As Lawson's coming to Connecticut over 50 pounds. And was best named to the 3rd team of the AP All-Americas.
Quite a job by Coach Oriema and his staff, and a lot of the credit she gives to Rebecca Lobo, working with her every day in practice for her development. And Walters now with 7 points.
9 of the last 10 games she scored in double figures.
Blodgett has done a nice job handling the pressure here in the first half for Maine. 3 from way downtown, short. Saved to Jen Rosati. Here come the Huskies. Ooh, takeaway by Ripton.
Jamel exposed that ball and it was gone.
Black Bears have shown some good quickness here in the first half. And there's a steal by Berube.
Berube just stepped right into that passing lane. Outstanding anticipation.
Elliott 3.
Jamel Elliott making 13 for 22 on the season for 3-point line. She'll only take it when she's wide open, and she challenged the defense.
Huskies have 3 3-pointers, Sherry. It's from their 2 power forwards. There's Walters with another defensive rebound.
And the Black Bears have gone cold. They normally shoot 46.7% from the field, but the Connecticut defense is holding them short of that.
Gallant stifled on the baseline, kicks it out to Ripton. Gallant open for a 12-foot jumper. Good ball movement by Maine.
They did a good job with that, and they have to move the ball around because you have to move this Connecticut defense. The #1 defensive team in the country, holding teams to just 31.4% from the field.
Walters, tough to stop from that close.
And you saw Perini kind of shake her head saying, you know, I was standing in front of her. What else can I do?
Three-pointer, good. Trisha Ripton, that's the first tray for the Black Bears.
Scored in double figures this season for 14 games. She shoots 40% from behind the arc. See if they can open her up for a couple of more long-range shots.
Halfway through the first half, UConn by 10. The #1 seed and the #16 seed. Berube no good. Excellent block out. And it may have been illegal. That's why. Foul called on Ripton, and she is irate, and I think she's got a good beat.
Well, Kara Walters is not somebody that will take anything lightly.
Coach Colombo doesn't like the call either. We'll be back to Gampo Pavilion NCAA first-round action after this.
Maine is going to have to find a way to contain Kara Walters. anytime UConn needs a basket, all they have to do is bring it inside to number 52. At 6'7", she is impossible to stop. I have yet to see a team stop her all year, and Maine has to figure a way to stop Kara Walters.
All right, thanks, Rod. And let's take a look at that last play inside, Sherry.
Well, as we said, Kara Walters is a real tough player, and you just see him underneath there, and it kind of looked like Kara Walters sort of got rid of the defense, but I guess they said Trisha Ripton was holding her prior to that.
Lobo's turnaround. Lobo with 10 here in the first half.
And the defense, once again, Maine just 5 for 20, shooting 25% from the field.
Gallant fake doesn't fool Lobo the second time.
Terrific quickness. She stayed right with the play and got back in the action.
Blocking foul called on Ripton.
And Ripton seems to be taking the brunt of the physical play, and that's going to be 3 personal fouls for Trisha Ripton. As Rebecca Lobo comes down on the fast break, she sees the defense. I think she keeps herself a little lower to the floor. She doesn't go quite as high. And there was the contact. 3 personal fouls makes it difficult now for Maine.
Ripton heads to the bench.
She's the 3-point specialist.
Rebecca Lobo back to the line.
In addition to Rebecca Lobo's exploits on the court, she also is quite the scholar athlete, as she was the scholar athlete in the Big East, as well as being named to the GTE COSIDA, which is the Sports Information Directors Association First Team Academic All-American.
She's struggling tonight from the free throw line as she misses again.
Maine substitution. Entering the lineup, number 33, Shauna
24-12. UConn by a dozen. Coming up on 9 minutes to go in the first half. Blodgett working, and Sales tries to strip it away.
Freshman against freshman.
Foul called on Lobo, and that will be her second.
We'll take a look at it. It's Sales, a freshman, trying to steal it from Cindy Blodgett, who was just a little bit cavalier with dribbling the basketball. And I don't know really how they called a foul on that play. 2 players just going for the ball. It should have been a jump ball.
Looked like a good scramble there. Maine with the long outlet. Huskies going back to a man B. Short on the shot is Rustad.
And immediately the Huskies look for the transition game.
Nikisha Sales, layup.
That's the Big East Rookie of the Year, Nikisha Sales. At one point this year, the first 13 games, she had double figures.
Not a bad way to start out your career.
Certainly isn't.
Hook, no good from Perini. Huskies have dominated the defensive glass. Lob for Sales. Comes up on the right side. Up and under is good.
Nikisha Sales has such terrific ability to control her body, such balance.
Blodgett short on the long 3, and Elliott thought about the long bomb, but decided against it. Rosati, no good, and Gallant has it. Held ball. Connecticut will get it.
Connecticut substitution. Entering the lineup, number
Carla Berube checking into the lineup when we return to Storrs, Connecticut. NCAA first round action, Huskies by 16.
Shooting 57.9% from the field, and for Maine, just 21%. But that's no surprise, Beth, because Connecticut has been shutting teams down all season long.
I don't know if teams realize just how strong the defense is until they actually have to face it. Sales, no good. Berube running in for the board. Maine doing a good job of getting their hands on the ball to tie up Huskies inside, and on the possession arrow, Black Bears will get it back.
Maine is a real feisty team, and just saw Coach Palumbo with a a card that said black. She has to have her players read from a card because they cannot hear her over this sold-out crowd.
Of course, the Black Bears are no strangers to big crowds
right.
either. Up at their place, they average over 3,000.
3,500, and they actually had 5,600 in a victory this season over Boston University.
Blodgett has it swatted by Walters.
Number 2 shot blocker in the Big East.
Elliott misses the shot, but Connecticut will get it.
And she looks right back to Carla Berube and says, sorry about that. That was an assist that I should have gave you. And here's the block. Blodgett trying to go on the other side, but Carol Walters has such long reach when she extends those arms, Beth. I think you're right. Good call on the fact that you can only see Connecticut on tape. You can see their defense on tape. You can watch them, but until you get on the court with them, Carol Walters, another hook shot from the baseline.
You don't know how tall Walters is. You don't know how quick Sales or Rosati are.
And that's 10 points for Carol Walters, make it 10 out of 11 games in double figures, her last 11.
Inside, Blodgett off the mark.
And that was kind of a forced shot. You see what the defense is doing to the young freshman.
She had 2 points early on, and she's been shut down since then.
Averages 20.4 points per game.
Good kick out. Ripton, 3-pointer. That's her second of the night.
And she's playing with 3 personal fouls, but they need her in there to shoot those threes. Has 41 out of 99 this season. Shooting over 40%.
Walters misses inside, but once again, Maine cannot get a hold of the rebound, and Connecticut will get it back.
Looked like Marini had good position, but she spent her efforts in trying to box out Carol Walters that it was difficult to go for the ball with 2 hands.
Kim Betterin replacing Nikisha Sales. Better, Berube, Rosati, Walters, and Elliott out there for Connecticut. Rosati, 3-pointer.
Got it.
That's the 4th tray for Connecticut. Blodgett is out there with Guidi, Dione, Perini, and Ripton for the Black Bears. Off the mark. Better snares the board.
Now this 10-day layoff was probably good for Jen Rosati. You might remember as she gets the assist with the inside pass to Carol Walters. Jen Rosati, the leading assist getter this year. Over 134. Always playing with their head up. You see that? And makes a nice little soft pass to Carol Walters, who just turns, knows exactly where she is on the floor. Quick turn, pivot, concentration. 12 points for Carol Walters.
Second personal on Stacy Perini.
So as I was saying, you might remember in the Big East Championship game that Jen Rosati went down early on with an elbow injury, a hyperextension, and pulled a little bit of the tendons, and she's not wearing anything on it. She got a couple of days rest and has practiced really 100% in the past 2 practices.
Has not affected her at all here tonight. And a pushing foul way out on top on Jamel Elliott. That is number 2 on Jamel. Talk about the Huskies and what they have been able to do to the opposition.
See that first in scoring margin, field goal percentage, defense, rebound margin, field goal percentage on the offense, and then scoring offense. They're second behind Grambling, who's number 1. I think the most impressive of all those stats is, in fact, the defensive percentage. The whole team to just 31% from the floor is an amazing statistic.
And then at the other end, you got 5 players in double figures.
They spread the wealth around. And that's the way to become champions. You can't rely on just 1 or 2 players. And this is talking about spreading the wealth. Overall points per game, Lobo leads the pack, along with Walters on the inside, Rosati from outside, Sales just a freshman, and Jamel Elliott 10.1 points. And actually, Carla Berube is right behind him with 9.3 points per game.
In fact, if you just look at Big East Conference games, Sherry, she replaces Elliott as the other 5th player in double figures. And there is a free throw from Stacy Perini.
Coach Joanne Palumbo in her 3rd season. The Maine Black Bears, 53 and 32 coming into this game.
They've won 13 in a row, winning the North Atlantic Conference tournament. Palumbo with a rich basketball heritage. She was an assistant for Joe Champy down at Auburn. And of course, Auburn was up here last year in the NCAAs.
And she had the opportunity to go to a couple of Final Fours herself. But they've tied a school record this year for the most wins in a season with 24. And Maine plays some pretty good defense, too.
Inside Walters, 16 for Walters, halfway to a career high.
But there are no answers for that. You can't defend 6'7" when you don't have somebody who's close to that height.
Maine doesn't get the answer from Greedy. And a loose ball tracked down by Nikisha Sales. Rosati, no one stops bar. She makes the Black Bears pay.
Jen Rosati, the heart and soul of this team, at 21 points in the CBS game versus Kansas, and that was a big performance because that was really the only time that this Connecticut Huskies were tested. And it looks like Cindy Blodgett's right knee is bleeding, so the trainers have to attend to that.
Well, Maine had managed to stay within 12 or 15 points, but the Huskies have gone on a run and opened it up. 40 to 17, 3:56 to go in the first half.
We are back live. Connecticut 40, Maine 17, 3:56 to go here in Stores in the first half. As you can see, Connecticut is very hard to contain offensively. They have so many weapons. Maine is having trouble. Okay, they contain Carol Walters, but then you have Jamel Elliott to worry about, and Jen Rosati and Rebecca Lobo. Maine is not used to seeing this many offensive weapons.
Thank you, Rod. 18-5 Husky run over the last 6.5 minutes.
And the Maine field goal percentage is continuing to go south, Beth. 6 of 29, 20% now.
Ripton misses on the three. Perini's putback is good.
Perini, the leading rebounder for the Black Bears at 8.4, showing that she can rebound and get good position on the offensive end.
20-point Husky advantage. And that pass goes off with Perini's head out of bounds. And there you see the damage being done inside.
Maine with just 4 points in the paint, and Connecticut 24. That's really been the story all season long. You see Cindy Blodgett back in the game with a bandage on her knee.
Number 14, Cindy Blodgett replacing Erin Greeley.
Working it around Walters. Berube, second chance. Berube, third chance. Ripton saves it to Blodgett. Black Bears have the numbers if they push. Blodgett, the runner in the paint. She continues to struggle. Perini's putback doesn't go.
That's a tough shot, though, Beth. She just took it into traffic and had no outlets.
Blocking foul called on Maine's Shauna Dione.
Shauna, once again, was waiting for Jen Rosati to attack, and Jen Rosati did and caught her moving.
Main foul on number 33, Shauna Dione, her first personal foul.
Shauna Dione became the 10th player in Maine Black Bears history to record 200 assists. So she's normally the person to give up the ball to open teammates. Cindy Blodgett, you know, she's a freshman. This is her first taste of NCAA play. She was the Rookie of the Year in the North Atlantic Conference. Also made first team selection, Beth, as a freshman. So she's used to a lot of accolades, but this atmosphere, this type of game, this type of team is something that is good experience for her.
Rosati misses. She's got 6 points and 4 assists so far tonight.
The thing that Maine is doing well is they're looking for their outlets.
Blodgett has it swiped by Rosati. Rosati on the break. Jennifer Rosati now with 8.
Good recognition for Rosati, who took it herself. Pam Weber was on the right but did not have the lane. So Jen took it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, a correction on the score from the West region.
Foul called against Rosati.
50, Western Illinois 24.
That will be 2 on Jen.
Committing a foul on number 21, Jennifer Rosati.
Shauna Dion will head to the free throw line. She's been held scoreless to this point.
Had a season high of 13 points and 7 rebounds versus Vermont. But she's been the top assist leader in 9 games this season, so she's really the playmaker as opposed to being the real creative scorer.
Kim Better into the UConn lineup, replacing Jennifer Rosati.
Kim Better has appeared in all 30 games this season off the bench. Gets my vote for Miss Hustle.
She has been a solid player coming into the game for the Huskies this season. 8 deep. Coach Auriemma has gone here in the first half. Lane violation called, so Dion will shoot again. Maine obviously into the bonus already, but they have only committed 3. Check that. Both teams into the bonus.
Main substitution entering the lineup, number 15, Kathleen Gallant, replacing Stephanie Guidi.
And senior Pam Weber will run the point. Both Weber and Rebecca Lobo came into this program at the same time, have been roommates since day one.
Berube steps behind the arc for 3.
Well, Carla's happy with that one. She missed a couple of gimmies earlier, but she's a great scorer as well. She can really light it up.
Nice feed, Blodgett. Maine's had some success getting down on the baseline, and tough turnaround with Perini.
Has a good look inside. They got the defense moving a little bit, created a one-on-one situation with Perini and Walters. Perini had a career-high 27 points this season.
Sales misses on the shot. And pass taken away by Better, but saved right to Blodgett. Maine quickly on the attack, and good box out by Berube, and Better tracks down the rebound. Sales 3. Huskies are lighting it up from outside.
Well, you can't give Nikisha Sales that kind of room. Big East Rookie of the Year will just stand back, line it up on the seams, and take it.
And there with the counter. 33, Shauna Dion.
Maine basket by Shauna Dion.
3 threes for Maine. 6 trays for the Huskies. And a foul underneath on Berube's shot. That will go against Catherine Gallant. First on Gallant.
Seems like Carla Berube looking for her offense a little bit more. She was on last year's all-rookie selection in the Big East Conference. Similar type player to Keisha Sales, who was this year's Rookie of the Year. They're both 6 foot. They both play very well on the baseline, can both create all kinds of offensive moves. Berube was the female basketball player of the year voted by the Massachusetts Coaches Association, coming out of Oxford High School.
5 points for Berube, and Missy Rose into the lineup. She replaces Kara Walters.
Seems already, Beth, even in the first half, that Coach Auriemma is allowing some of his starters a little bit of rest time.
Lobo's been out for quite a while, as has Elliott here in the first half. Huskies already over 50 points now, 30 seconds to play in the first half. And Blodgett throws it out of bounds.
Blodgett trying to attack the Connecticut defense, but there are just no windows. All the doors are shut tight.
Main substitution. Number 10,
substitution for Maine, Aaron Greeley replacing Blodgett.
Substitution number 52, Carol Walters replaces Kim
And now
Better.
Walters back in, replacing Kim Better, and Rebecca Lobo back in for the last 24 seconds. So some interesting substitutions from Coach Auriemma.
Certainly are. Of course, you know, who are we to question? We haven't won 221 games in our coaching career and lost as 81, which Coach Auriemma has done. He's the Big East Coach of the Year, so I guess he has a reason.
I think he's won 221 more than the both of us combined.
Exactly, Beth.
The only thing to be careful of, Lobo has 2 fouls. She's got the ball for the last shot.
Got it.
The substitutions pay off. Rebecca Lobo, 12, Kara Walters, 16. Huskies, 53, Black Bears, 25. First round action in the NCAA tournament. We'll be back right after this. Round 1 of the NCAA East region. The number 1 seeded UConn Huskies 53, the 16 seeded Black Bears of Maine 25. And Sherry, let's check out those highlights from the first half.
Well, certainly are a lot of highlights for Kara Walters. 17 minutes to play, 16 points. That's the no-look hook shot along the baseline. Even more amazing for Rebecca Lobo. Just 10 minutes of action, 12 points, and 2 for 3 from behind the 3. And that was one of them early on. She stepped up and has taken 3 3-pointers. For Maine, it was a little tougher to find some highlights offensively. They're shut down by the defense, but Ripton comes down with a 3, a nice pass from Cindy Blodgett. But Blodgett offensively just 1 for 7 from the field. This was her 1, and Beth, that came early on in the game.
Since then, she has been shut down, and Maine has struggled from the field, just 24%.
And you see Connecticut shooting a hot 54% from the floor. 3-pointers, Maine just 3 for 11. Connecticut 6 for 11, doubling their 3-point productivity. And rebounds, big advantage. Connecticut 31 to Maine's 18. And points in the paint, that's a story. High percentage shots for there. Connecticut 28 to Maine's just 8 points.
Kara Walters, 7 of 11 in the first half. Rebecca Lobo, 5 of 7. They haven't missed much inside, and that has Connecticut out to the big lead. Walters leading the way for UConn with 16. Perini has 7 for the Black Bears of Maine.
And Perini played all 20 minutes in the first half, but from the floor, just 2 for 8, 3 for 4 from the foul line.
Connecticut Huskies have won 33 in a row here at Gampel Pavilion, unbeaten the last 2 years at home. And if they can continue to win, they will have 4 more wins in the postseason because they host the regionals as well. The first obstacle, the Maine Black Bears for the next 20 minutes.
I think Connecticut will be happy to get one under their belt. And take a look at the Maine coaching staff. Woman Joanne Palumbo-McCauley, the head coach in her 3rd season.
For Connecticut, Pam Weber and Jennifer Rosati at the guards. Down low, Kara Walters, Jamel Elliott, and Rebecca Lobo. Huskies working around to Lobo. Dumps it off to Elliott, up and under on the right side. 2 for Jamel Elliott.
Lobo's 3rd on the team in assists behind Weber and Rosati. And you see why. At 6'4", you can see over the defense.
Working inside, shot no good from Stephanie Guidi. Connecticut pushes it up the floor.
And Jamel Elliott comes down with the rebound. Been productive so far, 2 points and a rebound in the second half.
Lobo shy on the shot. Fight for the loose ball. Guidi has it. Guidi's out there with Blodgett, Perini, Dione, and Tricia Ripton. And the foul called on Jennifer Rosati as she tried to strip the ball from Blodgett. And that will be number 3 on Rosati.
Jen kind of snuck her hands underneath. Blodgett exposed the ball, and when you expose the ball against the Husky team, a lot of times they're either going to get a hand on it or steal it. Now for Maine, their big upset this season, Beth, was a 75-73 surprise over Alabama. That was a January 5th victory, and there's Perini with a putback.
Perini has 9.
And Blodgett still cannot find the bottom of the net.
Walters working inside, left-hander is good. It was in that Alabama game that she really burst onto the scene with 30 points in that win.
It certainly was. She had a season high 30 points, 5 assists, and she was 4 for 9 from behind the arc. But at that point, early in January, not many people are going to concentrate on a freshman like that. Now they know what she can do.
Another good scrap for the ball. That is Ripton and Rosati.
Maine is working the ball around the defense pretty well and finds the open player, Stephanie Guidi, junior forward out of Stormville, New York.
Guidi's got 4 points on the night. Lobo's pass swatted away.
Now that's not a good pass for Rebecca. You can't get a chest pass right in the middle unless it's wide open. Someone will get a hand on it.
Speaking of wide open, Trisha Ripton has her third three. Maine Black Bears have come out and traded buckets with the Huskies. Lobo. No good. Elliott offensive board.
Between everybody's legs and out the other end into Blodgett's hand.
4-on-3 break for Maine. Ripton looking for a fourth three.
This Maine team is playing pretty physical basketball.
Blodgett, the runner, over Walters, doesn't go. Quickly out on the break is Rosati.
And how many times do you see that? A rebound, the long outlet pass. Jen Rosati sneaks in behind all the defense.
Good two-player game inside for Maine. Shot won't go. Rebecca Lobo. Rosati looking to return the favor to Elliott, and Jamel is fouled on the drive.
And Jamel hits the floor pretty hard. You hear that high screeching skid marks as Jamel goes down. But what this great defense does is they turn it into points awfully quickly. Off a rebound, off a steal, they'll immediately look to the outlet, most likely is Weber or Rosati, and then the forwards just streak down the other end, and they will get a lot of transition fast break baskets.
Elliott with 7 points and 6 rebounds.
Jamel was funny after the Big East Championship. We were commenting on her good long outlet passing ability and the fact that she would throw the ball almost the full length of the court for some easy layups for her teammates. And I said, now, I was comparing you to Drew Bledsoe because I'm a Patriots fan. I said, how about you? She said, oh, no, I'm a Washington Redskins all the way. You know, William Steisman.
She's from the D.C. area. And a foul called on Pam Weber.
Once again, there's that tight call. Mark Zentz calling it tight on the sideline.
Technical foul on number 32, Pam
Second
Weber.
personal on Weber. There's been a lot of whistles in tonight's contest. That pass was deflected out of bounds by UConn. 61-32 Huskies with 16:51 to go in the game. The winner faces Virginia Tech in the second round. The Hokies defeated St. Joe's earlier tonight, and there's Stephanie Guidi now with 6 points.
Averages 11.3 per game.
Blodgett steals it from Weber.
Maybe that easy two will get her out of the scoring funk she was in before.
4 points now for Blodgett.
A lot of times, Beth, you need a shot like that, nice easy layup to break the ice.
Elliott's putback. Got good inside position on Ripton to get the rebound.
Elliott's always very active on the boards.
4 Huskies in double figures. Elliott, Rosati, Lobo, and Walters. Traveling violation called on Guidi. Substitution coming in for Maine. Aaron Greeley, senior from Medford, Mass, replaces Ripton.
Greeley has had 3 starts this season, averages 4.4 points.
Nakeisha Sales
showing her offensive prowess
with the runner. 9 for Sales. Perini, no good on the shot.
Bad angle for Perini.
Held ball. Fans here in Storrs thought it was a quick whistle. Possession arrow will give the ball to the Maine Black Bears when we return to Gamble Pavilion after this timeout. Huskies leading Maine 65-36, 15-35 to go in this first round NCAA matchup.
It's been all Huskies, Beth.
They started out with some three-pointers from Rebecca Lobo and have been on fire since then.
Well, second half alone, Maine has picked up their scoring from the floor, 5 for 12, over 40%. But they dug such a hole for themselves in the first half.
Huskies working against a player-to-player D. Oh, check that. Looks like they're matching up a little bit. Lobo's turnaround gets the control.
Nice soft touch for Rebecca Lobo. 14 points.
Steal, Nikisha Sales.
And you can see the determination on her face. Ooh.
Knocked out of bounds. Connecticut will keep it. And I think some overpassing. That one, Rosati wanted to reward Sales for the steal.
She did. She wanted to touch pass it back to Nikisha. Nikisha's expression on her face, other than when she's determined in driving, is very intense. And there's a pass. Rosati definitely should have taken that one up strong.
And Connecticut loses it out of bounds.
But in games like this, it really doesn't matter. You have such a big commanding lead. Was it 31 points? It's in the close games, it's in the finer competition that Connecticut cannot make those mistakes.
Three-point bucket for Cindy Blodgett. She now has 7. Sales, a lot of time to look at that one. Take a Polaroid.
Freshman for freshman. That's a long three-pointer. And it takes a long rebound.
Sales. Sales now with 14.
Boy, Nikisha Sales, when she gets on a roll, Beth, it just seems that play after play, whether it be a steal, a rebound, a putback, or something, she just gets in a groove. 5 consecutive points.
It's carried over from the Big East tournament. There was a moment, 5 or 10 minutes in every game where she just took it over. Knocked out of bounds. Maine will keep it.
Like another block for Rebecca Lobo.
Walters, Berube checking back in.
Then Rosati gets a big hand from this partisan crowd.
Just inside the line, shot is good. Sandy Carver, that's her first bucket.
And you can see that Maine's offense has heated up just a bit. See how Blodgett is in the open floor.
Kicks it out to Ripton. Off the mark on the 3. Good offensive rebound for the Black Bears.
Connecticut defense recovers quickly. Pam Weber's assignment to cover the star freshman Cindy Blodgett.
Carver off the mark. Berube has the long rebound. Weber comes out top to set the half-court offense for UConn.
Pam Weber has never missed a game in her career.
She'll try for 3. Cannot give her that much time to check out the hoop. 8 threes now for the Huskies. Ripton doesn't get the answer, but there's Blodgett for the long rebound.
Little shuffle pass, doesn't move the defense too much. This Carver foot was on the line. That was just a 2.
Sandy Carver with 4 points. Check at 6 points now in the second half. Lobo misses. Walters put back, and she draws the foul.
Rebecca Lobo does everything short of a dunk. There's only one woman in the NCAA this year who has dunked, and that's Charlotte Smith out of North Carolina. You see Rebecca just a little too strong off the backboard, but there's Kara Walters, her bookend, with the putback and the foul.
3rd personal on Perini. And Walters back to the line. 20 points for Kara tonight. She averaged 25 a game in the Big East tournament.
And she went 12 for 15 for 25 points in the semifinals and had a career-high 32 versus Seton Hall, where she was virtually unstoppable.
Blodgett. Ripton. Good ball movement by Maine. They find Blodgett. She can't connect.
You see how well disciplined Kara Walters is. She got the rebound and she held it high above her head where nobody could get a hand on it. You see Rebecca Lobo fighting for position with Perini.
Lobo just outside the foul line, doesn't go.
These Maine Black Bears like to score a lot of points too, 77.8 points per game on the year. So they like the fast tempo as well.
Now they really at this point share nothing to lose by pushing it up and down the floor. Walters. Nice assist for Pam Weber.
Pam Weber second on assists behind Jen Rosati.
Walters with another rebound.
And she needed 3 assists.
Weber takes it all away. Didn't want to give that one up.
And I do believe that Pam Weber has the #1 spot when it comes to assists in UConn history.
We've got a break in the action. Huskies on a roll. Gamble Pavilion in Stores, Connecticut 82, Maine 43 with 11:10 to play. Let's check in now with Rod.
Maine has played a lot better in the second half offensively, but UConn is serving notice to the rest of the country here. They're saying, look at this score. If you think you're going to come in here and knock us out of a Final Four bid, you're crazy. People are going to have to play a perfect game to beat UConn in this gym.
33 in a row here in Gamble. That is the mark the Huskies have put up, 3rd best in the nation.
And Connecticut even on a run themselves, 15-4 in the last 3 minutes.
Feed down low, Guidi powers it up for Ruby. Jamel Elliott working around Guidi, no good. Better crashes the board though and draws the foul.
Take a look, Elliott driving to the basket. Gets her angle a little bit too far underneath, and there's Kim Better with the offensive rebound. We said before, even without Walters and Lobo going for the board, you really need to put a body on somebody. Watch now, that's 3 personal fouls on Stephanie Guidi.
Kim Better shooting 63% from the line.
Her season high was 17 points versus Providence in January this season.
Substitution for Maine as Rita Sullivan heads over to the sideline. Better connects on the second.
And with that, Connecticut goes into a little bit of a extended pressure, but they like to trap over the half-court line. That's where you have to watch out. And there's the setup. Didn't quite execute it as well as they want to.
Perini to Carver. Fadeaway is good.
Carver off the bench has added some good offense. 7 points for Carver.
(83-45) Huskies coming up on the 10-minute mark in the second half. Lobo will go for 3 the old-fashioned way.
She was determined to put that one up. Got herself the position with the pass inside, took it to an open area, and concentrated and focused even after she was smacked on the arm.
Her 4th personal foul, 4th on the team. Main substitution, number 55, Stephanie Guidi replaces Stacey Perini.
And that's Perini with 4 personal fouls who has to go out and take a seat.
Rebecca Lobo, 16 points, 3 boards, 3 blocks.
Lobo has 15 doubles-doubles this season. In all but 4 games in double figures. Oh, another block.
and a foul on the second shot. Lobo will probably be shooting some free throws, though, tomorrow in the shoot-around. She's 0 for 5 tonight.
There's a look at Green, who had certainly a difficult task.
Third personal on Jamel Elliott. Catherine Gallant, the junior from Quebec, will head to the stripe.
Gallant's big games this season were 15 points and 13 rebounds versus San Francisco, and 15 points and 10 rebounds versus UNH, 2 double-doubles.
Five for Gallant, missing the second. Kim Better, Jen Rosati, Rebecca Lobo, Jamel Elliott, and Carla Berube out there for the Huskies. Handoff, Berube. And she is fouled underneath by Blodgett. Second on Blodgett. Out there for Maine with Cindy is Stephanie Guidi. Also Stacia Rustad, Sandy Carver. As we get another look.
Beth, this is a planned play, the old give and go. They work on this in drills, and it's executed beautifully. Carla Berube passes inside and then immediately goes to the hoop, under the baseline, the backdoor side, and gets a nice little shuffle pass from Jamel Elliott. That's execution at its finest right there.
Carla Berube at the line. Berube connects on both, 7 points to go along with 3 assists for Carla. Blodgett, Leaner, doesn't get it to go. Jamel Elliott pushed from behind, doesn't get it to fall, but will go to the free throw line.
Players are so unselfish. They love to find that person to make the great assist. And there's Berube one more time inside to Elliott. And she gets pushed out of bounds by Catherine Gallant. There's the North Atlantic Coach Conference Coach of the Year, Joanne Palumbo. First time in school history that they make it to the NCAA. And by the luck of the draw, they got the #1 team and the #1 seed.
Elliott, 12 points and 8 rebounds. She's perfect from the free throw line, 6 for 6. Elliott now just 11 shy of the 1,000 point mark. Nikisha Sales replaces Kim Better in the Husky lineup.
In which Jen Rosati became the 11th player in UConn history this season to score 1,000 points on February 27th versus Villanova, the last regular season game. And as we mentioned, Lobo over the 2,000 mark.
In the Big East tournament, she did that.
Came into this game with 2,037. Remember another All-American, Kerry Bascom, who leads the Huskies in career scoring with 2,177. There's 2 more closer to that record, Beth.
Lobo with 18 points. Walters with 23, 5 players in double figures for Connecticut. 8.5 to play. Gallant underneath, shot is good. Winner here gets Virginia Tech in the next round. Pretty tough draw, the East region, I think, in this year's tournament. Virginia, Alabama, Louisiana Tech, all in the East region.
I think that Louisiana Tech team, they might have been pretty unhappy they had to come up here to the East because they too have a good shot of going back to the Final Four, but to do so, they're going to have to get through Connecticut on their home floor.
Of course, that's a team familiar with upsets after knocking Connecticut out of last year's tournament. Carver, 2-pointer for her. I was also surprised a little bit to see Vandy go out and be a higher seed than Stanford in the West.
I think a lot of people are surprised with that. Their record wasn't quite as good. Stanford had a better record, but I guess they felt that the competition of the Southeastern Conference was worthy of giving them a #1 ranking, and the fact that they did win the tournament.
Berrube's second foul. In fact, 7 SEC teams into the NCAAs. 7 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the game. UConn 91, Maine 50. Oh, we knew it was a frightening experience to come into Gamble Pavilion. There's a guy who knows a thing or two about houses of horror, Stephen King, in attendance.
That's true, Beth, and you know, maybe this might be the basis for a new nightmare novel.
Other scores, Alabama out early on Mount St. Mary's in the first half. Virginia, close matchup with Dartmouth. They try to put the finishing touches on. Tech rolling over Furman in the first. And North Carolina bombing Western Illinois out in the West region. Back to the action. Turnover created by the Husky D.
Looks like Maine putting on a little bit of full court pressure themselves. This Connecticut team is very adept at breaking the press.
Nary a senior on the floor now for UConn as Kelly Hunt has checked into the Husky lineup.
Hunt, a freshman out of Londonderry, New Hampshire.
Miscommunication there between Berube and Hunt. Guidi.
Remember, the North Atlantic Conference second team and all turning team was Stephanie Guidi. Putting up some good numbers today.
Huskies working into Kelly Hunt. And a couple of miscommunications. Last 2 trips down the floor for UConn.
Well, the last game for Connecticut was March 6th. That's when they won the Big East Tournament Championship at Seton Hall, 85-49. So they're bound to be just a little bit rusty, haven't played for 10 games, and they were just itching to get out of the blocks.
Rosati stepped on the end line and heads into the Maine cheerleaders.
As you see, even with a 39-point lead, Jen Rosati still diving after loose balls. That's one thing that she will never do, is when she's on the court, is stop hustling.
That injury hasn't changed her game plan at all. Although Coach Oriental will now call her over to the sideline with Kara Walters. Lobo back in the middle along with Pam Weber out top for Connecticut.
Pam Weber, a 3-time Big East academic all-star.
Perini, she's been hitting that tonight. 11 for Stacey Perini.
Had a career-high 27 points versus Delaware.
Sails.
But great control. Dribbling with her left hand and pulled up and shot it with her right, falling away. Just a glimpse of greatness to come from Nikisha Sales.
And Blodgett fouled on the drive. She gets the hoop and will go to the line.
Cindy Blodgett with a quick first step. Gets around the screen and takes it underneath. Kelly Hunt with the contact.
That's the first on Hunt. Cindy Blodgett, 73% free throw shooter, looking to get into double figures.
Just about 50% of her normal offensive production of 20.4 points per game, as she leads the team in not only points, but in three-pointers made, assists, steals, and minutes played.
Among freshmen in the nation, she was the second leading scorer in the country.
Behind Corey Halede out of Duquesne University. Player from Croatia.
Missy Rose also into the UConn lineup. Sales draws the foul. Count it.
Nikisha Sales taking it to baseline, strong and determined. Look at that face. Nothing was going to stop her in that play, boy.
That was quite a look she had there on that penetration.
Well, that's why I say she's either like a stoic, you know, no expression, or that look, which means I am focused and I am ready to play.
A correction, the last Connecticut foul is on number 34.
There is Sales, who now has 18.
At the line for Connecticut, Nikisha Sales.
one of 5 Connecticut players in double figures.
Keisha also had 21 points versus Kansas. She had 5 of 7 three-pointers also in that game.
And Sells tracks down the rebound. Kelly Hunt spins in the paint. Fouled by Stephanie Guidi. That's 4 on Guidi. And there is Perini.
Fouled out with 11 points. Very difficult assignment for Perini.
And now Lobo checks out as Brenda Marquis, another freshman, into the Husky lineup.
But as we said before, Beth, every team comes into the first round 0-0. The fact that Connecticut's 29-0 up to this point probably seems like ages ago for them. They probably, okay, that's our first part of the season. We forget about that now. We have to focus on the upcoming games, and the most that they can have is 6. You go 6-0, and you have a national championship under your belt.
Kelly Hunt.
Substitution, number 5.
Kim Better in for Nikisha Sales.
Tremendous effort for everybody sitting along that bench. Sales, Lobo, Elliott, Walters, and Berube and Rosati.
Everybody involved. Blodgett doesn't get it to go. Hunt has the rebound. Huskies continue to push. Hunt feeds Marquis.
And that gets a standing ovation from the bench. They love those assists. In fact, 63% of their points are scored with an assist.
And crashing into the table, a couple of different players. Hunt and Guidi. And she appears to be all right.
A little bit slow in getting up. Great hustle, both players. They're both just scrambling for it. Hunt definitely gets the worst of that one.
And good times on the Husky bench. We've got a timeout. Connecticut on the verge of breaking the century mark with 4:48 to play. We'll be back to Gamble Pavilion. More NCAA basketball after this.
The last team to go undefeated for an entire season was the University of Texas back in 1986. UConn has a great chance to do that this year. 30-0 after this game. I don't see anybody in the country that can really beat them.
99-57 Huskies. Three-pointer, Shauna Dione.
Beth, I tell you though, I think Tennessee might want to get a second chance opportunity at Connecticut, but the way the seeds are set, if that is going to be a rematch, it would happen in the championship game in Minneapolis.
Kelly Hunt gets the hoop, draws the foul, will go to the free throw line.
Kelly Hunt has scored in 20 games this season, was Miss Basketball in New Hampshire. Had some very strong moves, 2 of them. Nice catch and pivot, strong to the basket.
Well, the road to the Final Four strewn with many potholes. You talked about a couple, Louisiana Tech, Tennessee. Also a chance they'll face Vanderbilt or Stanford along the way.
And those are outstanding teams with outstanding coaches. Tara Vanderveer, the national championship from 1990, as well as Coach Foster, coaches at Vanderbilt, with a great winning tradition there.
Used to be at St. Joe's, and the Hawks lost earlier. Another 3 for Dione. Of course, if you ask Coach Oriema, I'm sure he's only concerned about Virginia Tech, which will be the next game, second rounder.
One game at a time, they tell us, Beth. They allow us to look ahead. They go for one at a time. Last time Connecticut was over 100 was on February 22nd, where they clinched the Big East regular season record at 103-56 over St. John.
Pam Weber leaves the game. Jill Gelfenbein is in. Other NCAA scores: Alabama leading Mount St. Mary's at the half 35-24. Louisiana Tech pounding Furman 58-31 just starting out the second half. Another three for Maine and a foul called on Hunt. Other scores: North Carolina beats Western Illinois 89-48. Montana leading San Diego State 33-29 in the second. And Southern Miss and Southern Methodist tied at 72 in the second.
Ripton with 14 points.
Trisha Ripton will shoot one for the Black Bears.
There's a couple from the arc. Just a 5'9" sophomore out of Millnocket, Maine. And she knocks it down.
Nicely done, Sherry.
Thank you.
Ripton, the leading scorer for the Black Bears with 15.
Couldn't resist on that one.
Hey, you got to take an opportunity like that. Speaking of which,
and so does Kim Better.
Segue to Better.
But we're on a roll, Beth.
She knew I was saying that. That's why she took that one all the way. Greedy. The Black Bears have settled right down. They've hit 4 shots in a row.
Season high at 23 points versus Hofstra, where she was 10 for 14 from the field. Nice little catch and put up on that time.
Under 3 minutes now to go. 103-69. Connecticut leading Maine. Rose tries to feed Hunt, but it's knocked away by Maine.
And the freshman rookie of the year in the North Atlantic Conference is not in the game. Cindy Blodgett, she's on the bench right now. Tough game for Cindy.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Substitution, Catherine Gallant.
See the current home win streaks. Tennessee leading the pack with 60, Virginia 53, and there's Connecticut 33 and counting. Tennessee also is hosting a region in the Mid-East region, so they too, their home win streak should climb a little bit.
Jumper no good from Aaron Greeley.
You see number 40, Gelfenbein. She's an interesting story, a goalie on the women's soccer team that went all the way to the women's Final Four. Potentially, if Connecticut Huskies go to the Final Four, she could participate in 2 Final Fours, 2 different sports in the same year.
Entering the lineup, number 12, Kelly Stubbs.
Not a bad season.
Replacing Trisha Ripton.
You should have 2 rings.
Scramble for the loose ball. Kelly Hunt has it. Kim Better on the run. Gelfenbein, nice look to Marquis.
Brenda Marquis has also scored now in 20 games this season for the Huskies. Both players, Hunt and Marquis, freshmen who could probably start on most teams, Beth.
Main basket by Rita Sullivan.
Under 2 minutes now to go. Gelfenbein. That would have brought the house down. Knocked out of bounds, and it will go over to the Maine Black Bears. And we do have an announcement to make due to the fact that one of the teams lost earlier. There are 600 tickets available for Saturday's second-round NCAA matchup against Virginia Tech. They will go on sale tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the Gamble Pavilion ticket office in stores only. Tickets are $11 for adults, $5 for students. There's a 4-ticket limit per person. Tickets must be purchased in person, not by phone. So if you're looking for tickets for Saturday's game, 600 will be available tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at Gamble Pavilion.
Beth, you may be responsible for a stampede at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I should put a disclaimer at the end of that. I have
No responsibility.
none whatsoever.
The lines will be out there bright and early. The Husky Mania is alive and well in Gamble Pavilion.
Of course, a double dip for UConn today with the men winning earlier this afternoon. They will be playing Saturday as well after the women. Huskies will be playing at 1 here at Gamble, and I believe the men will be playing at 4 or 4:30 out in Salt Lake City. Foul called against the Maine Black Bears. They will finish one of their best seasons ever with a 24-5 mark, tying a record for most wins at Maine.
And Connecticut Huskies have gone over 100 points, 7 games this season. This is the 8th most points ever scored in women's NCAA history at 105. Sullivan started a good move but lost control.
In the second round for Connecticut, if you're interested in the Virginia Tech Hokies, 22-8 record, regular season champs in the Metro Conference. And they defeated St. Joe's by 10 earlier tonight. That's next up for Connecticut on Saturday afternoon at 1. Huskies lose it out of bounds with 16 seconds to play.
And I think the Huskies have to be very pleased with the way that they came out after a 10-day layoff where they didn't have any games. You know, I have a feeling the game's a lot easier than their practices, Beth.
Yep. Steal by Kelly Hunt. And she's caught from behind and loses it. That takes care of the first round matchup between Connecticut and Maine. UConn 105, the Black Bears 75.
Great overall team effort. I don't think there was any question. I think Maine was just overwhelmed, Beth, by the size, the quickness, the intensity of the defense.
$1 billion.
Like this Connecticut team this year.
These have looked solid, and they move on to face Virginia Tech in round 2 of the NCAA tournament.
And Virginia Tech had a good performance against St. Joe's. It was a 1 left, but then their defense stepped it up. St. Joe's did not score very much down the last few minutes of the game.
Kara Walters leading the way with 23 points. 5 players in double figures for the Huskies. Let's check in now with Rod Mashad courtside.
With me is the coach of the UConn basketball team, Gino Auriemma. Gino, an impressive win tonight. You're serving notice to the rest of the country that if you're going to come here and beat us, you're going to have to play one heck of a game.
Well, I thought we really played well. I mean, it took us a while to kind of get going, but I thought the offense looked really good. And once we got rolling, I thought the second half we came out and were able to just run, and we got contributions from a lot of players. And I just want us to play one game at a time, and hopefully Saturday we'll be able to play exactly like we played today.
You know, last year in the first round, you had a bit of rust on you against Brown. It took you a while to get it going. Tonight, this team was so ready to play. It was unbelievable, Gino.
Well, you know, this is a different team than last year. Circumstances are different. You know, this team's always ready. They know exactly when game time is, and I couldn't be prouder of them. And, you know, we'll be ready Saturday, too. And, you know, I just got to stay out of their way now. You know, I pushed the snowball down the hill, and now I just want to get out of the way.
Yeah, but you have this team ready to play, and that's the most important thing.
Well, they get themselves ready, and I feel like I just give them a little bit of guidance. And, you know, Saturday will be a different game, though. We're playing a different kind of team, much more experienced.
Talk about that team.
You know, Maine's a little bit young. You know, Virginia Tech is much more experienced. They've got 4 seniors, I believe. They've been in the tournament before. You know, I expect a totally different game, and we've got our work cut out for us. But anybody that wants to beat us on this course got their work cut out for them, too.
The game will be on Connecticut Public Television Saturday at 1 o'clock. You're right. Anybody that beats you on this court they'll play basically a perfect game, Gino.
Well, or they're going to need some help from us, and hopefully we're not in the mood to give anybody any help the next couple weeks.
Thank you very much.
All right, Rod. See you.
Gino Auriemma, the head coach.